ladies and gentlemen, the man who spent way too much time at the 7-Eleven on Orchard Lake Road. It's Justin
Oh
Bartha.
man, yes, that is
Did, didn't
true.
you? You did, didn't you?
I was, I definitely is the Village restaurant still there? I mean,
Yeah,
the place
yeah.
that was my haunt for sure.
That
Coney
was your
Island.
hang. Okay. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Are you in downtown Detroit right now?
Our studios are 8.5 in Coolidge. We're in Oak Park, so
Great.
close enough for government work.
Right near where I used to grow up.
There you go. And Nuked, by the way, I love the premise because I remember in 2018 when this thing happened in Hawaii, and I don't think people around the rest of the world understood how crazy that was. But to shape a movie around that and how people react and get down to it, that had to be a fun concept for you when they pitched it.
Oh, it was super fun. And and even you talk about the, kind of true story it's based on. My wife is from Hawaii, and so a lot of our family literally went through that. We were getting texts saying goodbye. They were going into the bunkers. It was very, I was in New York. It was like, I was like, North Korea is not going to bomb us. What is this? But they heard the sirens, and it was very real for a lot of my family. So to have that perspective, that, actually you're hearing people talk about this could be the end of the world.
So how,
Is a yeah.
how do you like in that? Because the word that came up a lot, and I was watching the trailer, and my wife and I are going to sit down and watch it. We can't wait for this in
Oh,
theaters as
thank you.
well. Um, Absurd came up a lot. People would talk about, and I was reading references to it in a good way,
Yeah.
the absurdity of it. But isn't that life when things get weird? Things become absurd. That's the beauty of comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think you know, this movie absurd's tough now with this movie because obviously in the news you're reading about nuclear war every day. And we this was kind of this movie was born out of the pandemic in a sense where everyone's thinking about, this could be the end of our lives. So I think maybe at one time it would have been absurd, and now it's gone to strangely identifiable and relatable to most people. And it's at its heart, it's a adult relationship comedy. You could say a stoner comedy too. But, it really is about people trying to make their relationships work during a time where you don't even know if you're going to survive. And I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, every single couple that I know went through something, whether
Something,
they're
yeah.
separating, divorcing, opening their relationship, getting closer, doing all sorts of stuff. So I think that this movie is kind of the culmination of those conversations that the director and I had.
And Justin, the other thing you cannot downplay is this: the
Own.
taking the phone away when you take, and it's not a phone anymore; it's whatever you want to call it, your mobile device, your
Exactly.
iPhone, whatever. When you take that away in a relationship, and you guys delve into that, um, the dynamic changes as well. I know people that are so uncomfortable if they don't have their phone on them, they're incapable of having a conversation with you.
Yeah, I mean it's a pacifier and it's a distraction. I mean, we all know, we all know and talk about our love-hate relationships with our phones, but I think, what happens in this film is that they're forced to take away that, pacifier and actually connect with each other when they think that, hey, if the world ends in 24 hours, what do I want to say to my loved one? How do I want to wrap this up with nowhere to look but in their eyes? So I think it's what sounds like a crazy tragedy turns out to be a pretty funny time.
Give me the one scene in the movie that you guys had the hardest time filming because you were laughing too hard.
I think there's a scene where right after we find out that there's a nuke headed towards us, and we go into this basement, and we're all kind of trying to understand what's going on, and then my wife, played by the brilliant Anna Camp, kind of has this panic attack or kind of an anxiety attack. She thinks she's having a heart attack. That was so much. You're just like everyone is going nuts, and it's taking the energy to a new level, and I think everybody really was cracking up during that time.
This is such a cool concept. It is. It looks like a wonderful film. We can't wait to watch Nuked. Justin Bartha with us here, and I do have an elevator pitch for you. You ready?
Yeah, please.
It's Detroit centric, but I was thinking
Hmm.
about this.
I love it.
I want to do that's okay. I want to do National Treasure, but I want to do it here in Detroit, and it's the Detroit salt mines. And there's stories that, and this is all just made up. Henry Ford had built a city in the salt mines, this futuristic
Okay.
city. And your character, you come back from National Treasure and you start going around Detroit finding these clues, and you start to realize it's real. The city's real underneath Detroit. And you go to Lafayette County and you wind up going to the Spirit of Detroit and you do all these Detroit you go to the Fago bottling plant. But it's
Yeah,
to unearth this city that Henry Ford's greatest invention was something that he didn't think the world was ready for. The city underneath Detroit.
I love it. I am
Right?
with
It's not
you right
bad.
now.
It's
Call
not
Get
bad.
Bruckheimer on the phone. Anything
Yeah.
Detroit centric for me is the way.
So what's the best number you have in your phone? Is what's the coolest number you have in your phone?
The of like a celebrity.
Yeah, the one that you look at and go, I can't believe I got their number.
Wow. I don't know. I haven't thought about that.
Really?
I could look through my phone if you want.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got Seeger's number, but I'm afraid to call it because I feel like I'm pulling a fire alarm. And if I call it once, I'll never be able to talk to him again. So
you have
that's
oh,
my that's
Bob
it
Seger.
makes me anxious that I've got Seeger's phone number in my cell phone. I know that's silly,
Uh,
but yeah.
wow. I have some dingers in my phone, but who knows if they're, the cat. I mean, not to be too cheesy, but the cast of this movie is pretty impressive to
Yeah,
me.
it is.
All their numbers. So,
And you guys still stay in touch with
and
everybody?
we do, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Okay.
All my friends that all the people that I've done movies with, I'm still starstruck by them, and they're all in my phone. So
Well, you sound like you're having fun, you're grounded, you keep doing great projects, so much stuff here with the Hango and everything.
trying to keep it Detroit, man. Got to keep it Midwest.
Do you keep tabs on Detroit?
Sure, of course. I mean, I haven't been there in a couple of years. I took my family on a kind of a tour upstate a couple summers ago. We went to Traverse City and Mackinac for actually 2 years exactly. July 4th, we went to Mackinac Island and went Traverse City and Glen Arbor. I mean, yeah, it's the best. Did some
It's the
Sleeping
best.
Bear Dunes, my old haunting ground in West Bloomfield, hunting
Um,
ground.
are you a Coney guy?
I'm a Coney guy, sure.
Okay, I just you don't know. I mean, sometimes I don't know. I mean, I always ask. I'm like, is that something that you don't have to explain it to people like we used to. And it's got to be funny for you, living around the country now that Detroit style pizza is freaking everywhere.
Yeah, Detroit. I mean, I'm in New York and we have a couple of Detroit style pizza places. Listen, I love everything about Michigan and Detroit. The pizza, I don't know. Buddy's Pizza, I do like. I do
Okay,
like a Buddy's Pizza, but it's tough to beat a New York slice.
there you go. Hey, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Justin, congratulations. Come back for a Tigers game. We're doing pretty well this year, man.
Oh, all Detroit teams are doing well. I'll be
Yeah.
rooting for the
Yeah.
Pistons and for the Lions. I'm always rooting for all my Detroit teams.
Nuked looks great. It's
Yeah,
fun.
July 7th. You can rent it. It's not gonna. We're only on
Okay,
rentals.
when I say I apologize. So you can rent it starting July 11th, though,
Well,
right?
with anywhere
Okay.
on your screen.
Okay.
Give it a look. It's an actual adult comedy. You don't get a lot of those anymore.
I call these it's a movie dinner. So that's the kind of I'm gonna sit down, watch this, then we're gonna talk about it afterwards because it feels like there's in the midst of all this, there's some really interesting talk points.
Absolutely. Have a drink, maybe smoke a little cigar or a blunt. I don't know how you
Hey,
like to
it's
do it.
legal here in Michigan. We can do that all day, man.
And
So
do your thing. This is the kind of movie, it's the kind of movie that you sit down with your partner and you have a few laughs, and it's a silly time.
Justin, appreciate the time as always. And we love you here in the Motor City, the pride of West Bloomfield High School, Justin Bartha. Thank you,
Uh,
buddy.
Jim, appreciate it. All the
Thanks,
best.
man.